during the whole coaching search for Auburn, I honestly thought I wanted Lane Kiffin at first. And last night watching the Texas Bowl, I saw how wrong I was. And don't get me wrong, I was glad we hired Hugh Freeze once everything kind of settled down and I got to look a little more into it. But originally, I thought Lane Kiffin was going to be a good hire. And watching the Texas Bowl last night, I could not have been more wrong. And I'm interested in what you think if you wanted Lane Kiffin. But let's go through some of the calls that Lane Kiffin made. And I'm solely going to focus on one thing because there were so many things that went wrong and so many poor decisions that he made. I could sit here and talk for an hour, but I'm not going to do that. I solely want to look at the calls he made on fourth down because they were wild. Absolutely wild. And it's already stressful enough being an Auburn fan, as you know. But if we had Lane Kiffin at the helm, if we had him making the decision and we had to trust his analytics, it would be a lot more stressful. And I think we would lose a lot of games we should not lose. Look at some of these plays that he made. I'm going to read through a couple of these. I'm actually going to read through all of the fourth down decisions that he made. And they were crazy. So in the first quarter, Ole Miss got down to the Texas Tech 38. It was 4th and 7. And what did Kiffin decide to do? He thought, you know what? The analytics say I should go for it, so we're going for it. So they went for it, and Jackson Dart threw an incomplete pass, which meant, guess what? Texas Tech got the ball. And from the 38, they probably could have gotten a field goal out of that. So that's already 3 possible missed points. A little later, with 9:13 left in the first quarter, Ole Miss was on their own 29-yard line. It was 4th and 1. Keep in mind, on their own 29-yard line. And what do? You know, most teams would probably punt because you're like, I'm on my own 29-yard line. I want to be safe. There's a lot of game left. Let's just punt the ball and we'll try again next time. He goes for it. And what happens? Quinshon Judkins runs for a 2-yard loss, giving Texas Tech the ball on the Mississippi on the Ole Miss 27-yard line. Why would you do that? You just gave the other team golden field position, excellent field position. And then what is the result in that poor decision? Texas Tech ends up scoring a touchdown. That gives them 7 points. So not only did you lose 3 points before that on a possible field goal a couple drives earlier, you also gave them 7 points. That's a 10-point swing already. With 44 seconds left in the first quarter, it was 4th and 3 on the Ole Miss 47. Jackson Dart threw a pass, and it was intercepted. Luckily for them, it was intercepted on the Texas Tech 18, but once again, they turned over the ball. This one was not as big of a deal to me because when it was intercepted on the 18, it was basically a pretty decent punt is how it ends up working out. So that one's not as bad. A little later, there was, I think this was the head scratcher for everybody that watched it. It was 4th and 1. This was in the second quarter with 8:55 left. It was 4th and 1 on the Ole Miss 11. The Ole Miss 11. Luckily for Lane Kiffin, Quinshon Judkins ran for 3 yards to the Ole Miss 14. So he did get the first down, but that's the type of gamble I honestly don't want as a fan because good grief, that could have been a disaster. He lucked out and it was not, but if he'd gotten a 2-yard loss like he did on that drive in the first quarter, that could have been another touchdown for Texas Tech. Luckily for him, it ended up being a first down. However, a few plays later, he threw an interception anyway, so it didn't matter. If we go a little further into the second quarter, 6:24 left. It was 4th and 6 on the Ole Miss 29. Once again, these drives that are deep into the Ole Miss territory, they've not gotten very far at all, and it's 4th down, and when most teams would punt, Lane Kiffin is making a crazy decision to go for it because of his analytics, which make no sense to me in this situation. 4th and 6 at the Ole Miss 29. Dayton Wade runs for 3 yards to the Ole Miss 32, which guess what that means? Texas Tech once again gets the ball in Ole Miss territory, resulting in 3 points for Texas Tech. That's now 13 points that Texas Tech got that they probably would not have gotten otherwise. With going to the second half. In the second half, there was 1:55 left in the third quarter. It was 4th and 1 at the Texas Tech 29, so at least we are in Texas Tech territory. Quinshon Judkins runs for no gain to the Texas Tech 29, which, guess what that means again? That means that they turn the ball over. They could have gotten 3. Now we've left 16 points off of the scoreboard, or I should say, that's a 16-point swing against Ole Miss if you look at it in the way I described. In the fourth quarter, with 47 seconds left, it was 4th and 5 at the Texas Tech 34. Jackson Dart passed, and he did actually complete this pass for 23 yards to the Texas Tech 11 for a first down. So that was a positive. So out of all those 4th down attempts, only 2 of them resulted in a first down or something positive. That 4th and 1 from the Ole Miss 11 in the second quarter, and the 4th and 5 at the Texas Tech 34 in the fourth quarter. Neither of those resulted in points, so ultimately they were pointless. See what I did there? So ultimately, all that stuff that Lane Kiffin did on 4th down, there was really nothing good came from it. And the only time he punted, he did punt one time. It was 4th and 18 at the Ole Miss 15 in the third quarter with 4:53 left. And he made the right decision, and he punted the ball. There was no gain on that punt for a first down. I think there was an Ole Miss penalty as well, so it was just ugly all the way around. But regardless, he only punted one time. He should have punted many more times than that. And I think that's the kind of decision making when I'm looking at this game and what kind of coach Lane Kiffin is. That's not the kind of coach we need at Auburn. Not at all. We don't need a coach who is one. I could give you a list of reasons why Lane Kiffin is not the right fit for Auburn. Now that I'm out of the coaching search mode in my head. One, he's really immature. I don't think that's a good fit for Auburn. 2, this 4th down nonsense has no place at Auburn. Like, if you go for it occasionally, that's one thing. But the fact he went for it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times, at least 7 times he went for it on 4th down, and he only got it twice. I just don't think that has any place in Auburn football. So Ole Miss, I'm glad you got to keep Lane Kiffin because we don't want him, and we just saw why last night against Texas Tech. Good luck, guys, because he's your problem, not ours. If you like this video, please hit like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.